Tara, welcome to the Co-Movement Gym podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little sick, but that is the benefit of having Zoom and Riverside and these virtual interviews.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
have to be face to face. You can still do an interview even if you're sick.
Yeah, for sure. And your body, we'll get into it as we talk more today, but your body's recovering. So for people that are listening, and I want to introduce you here, Tara's an ultra marathon trail runner, completing some of the most well-known races on the planet, such as the Hard Rock 100 miler, Black Canyon 100K, Devil Dog Ultra, Ohio Backyard Ultra, and she has through hiked the 211-mile John Muir Trail. Tara recently set the fastest known time on the 2,190-mile Appalachian Trail, completing it in 40 days, 18 hours, and 6 minutes, averaging a mind-boggling 56.4 miles per day and breaking the prior record by 13 and a half hours. Tara's goal during the Appalachian Trail FKT was to raise $20,000 for the nonprofit Girls on the Run. Her hope was to inspire women and girls to tackle tough goals. The Co-Movement Gym podcast is supported by Native Path Supplements and Lombardi Chiropractic. Mention this podcast or click on the links in the episode description for a nice discount on us. So I want to jump in here, Tara, and get into, I'm really interested. You had mentioned in one of your talks that you had a crew team of about 40 people helping you throughout these 40 days. 40 people, that's quite a setup there. So what kind of role did they play in helping you accomplish this?
Yeah, it wasn't 40 people at once. They came and went. So, I count all those people. There was people who would come out and just give us a pre-made meal or groceries. I never even saw some of these people. They would come in, give my crew food, and then head out. There's other people like my friend JP who stayed for an entire month. He was planning on staying for a couple of weeks and he decided to stay for a month. So there's a lot of people that were just in and out. But this crew, under FKT, fastestknowntime.com, like it is considered my FKT. It's under my name, but I consider this a team effort through and through. Without my crew, it wouldn't have been possible. And my crew chief, Rascal, I called her I think it was about 6 months-ish before we started. And I just felt a lot of pressure. And I just told her, I need help. I need this to be a team effort because I feel so much pressure. And so we really started viewing this as like, we call ourselves Chump Change FKT. It's just like a team name. And we really viewed this as like a team effort. So I was just another part of this crew, essentially just like the driver of a car. Well, actually not even that. Like I would say I was like the car when it comes to like a NASCAR crew. I'm the car, the pacer is the driver, the pit crew, they're the ones that are changing my tires and fueling me. So it's truly a team effort. And they held, there was such a big role that it was pretty much everything but running. What I like to say is I was like this physical embodiment of the FKT, and all I had to worry about was going forward. And that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to have to worry about where is my next meal coming from? Where were we sleeping that night? Like that is so much extra energy spent thinking about those details when you could just offload it to a willing and able crew. My crew was very much into this FKT just as much as I was. And so they held a lot of hats, and it was pretty much everything but actually physically completing the FKT.
Yeah, I'm amazed at what goes into an adventure like that, right? Like an attempt at that, like with your food and calories and sleep and transportation and recovery and footwear and, injuries and mindset. Like there's so much that they're bringing to the table, for you to help get you, across that finish line. It's huge. How many calories did you eat per day? Like, did they have something like that calculated out?
Yeah, so it was about 8 to 10,000 calories a day.
Wow.
That's kind of what we averaged out. Um, and it was a lot of work in the beginning for Rascal and my mom. My mom came, and my mom and Rascal and me, we were the three that were the constants throughout the FKT. But then we got Amy and Steve about 11 days in, and they were crucial to the FKT. They came in with their van. They could cook, bake, anything. They had a shower in their van, and 2 out of the 3 showers I took on the trail were in that van. So I really didn't have to leave trail at all, and they didn't either. So Amy kind of did a lot of that work on like figuring out the macros and the calories, and she made sure I was getting enough fats and, proteins and whatnot. I really offloaded all of that to them. I think it would be really cool one day to do like this like conversation with every member of the crew, because all of their roles were so interesting and intricate in their own way.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like, just to come up with food ideas in the prep for 8 to 10,000 calories a day. Like, so for everyone listening, that's about 5 days worth of food for the average person, that you're taking in per day, right?
Yeah.
Did you find it hard to get that many calories down? No,
not at all. I was satiated, but I was like, I never felt hungry, but like my crew, the pacers who were with me and the crew members that were physically feeding me, they're keeping track of what I need to eat when. And so when they'd hand me a snack, like sometimes I'd be like, oh, can we wait like 10, 20 minutes? I need to like process this a little more. But I never felt like overfed ever. I felt like satiated.
Did you lose weight? I'm assuming you lost weight over the 40 days.
Yeah, and it wasn't a crazy amount. I think it had to be somewhere from like 5 to 8 pounds.
Wow.
And I would ask crew members who knew me. Like, I did have a lot of random people from social media come out, but I also had a lot of friends come out, and I'd ask my friends, I was like, do I look like sick or do I look like way different? And they would always say like, no, you look healthy. And that was really encouraging to hear, because that was a concern of mine. I didn't want to, I did an FKT, the Mountains of Sea Trail. It was 29 days in 2020. And I was very unhealthy and did not look well. And so I was very aware of that. And I didn't want, the same situation to happen.
Yeah, I followed your Instagram, and you did like those daily updates. And yeah, you looked, full and energetic. Like, you didn't look like you were getting depleted. Like, you and I have both seen that in athletes. But no, it was, those videos were great. Most people know that staying hydrated is essential to nearly every bodily function, but 75% of Americans still do not consume enough fluid daily. As we age, bodily changes make staying hydrated even harder, especially without artificial additives or excess sugars. That's where Native Path comes in with extra help. Native Path's Hydrate is not just another drink mix. It's a thoughtfully designed formula packed with BCAAs and all 9 essential amino acids to help with muscle recovery and overall vitality. Plus, it's completely sugar-free and 100% natural. With their Native Hydrate product, you can fuel your body with essential electrolytes at the cellular level for overall vitality. Unlike other hydration drink mixes that are designed for marathon runners and contain upwards of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, Native Hydrate contains just 230 milligrams of sodium for optimal daily hydration. It's free of artificial flavors, sugars, and dyes, It's only 5 calories per serving, and every order comes with a 360-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it risk-free. Visit nativehydrate.com/co-movement to see what Native Hydrate could do for your health. Again, that is nativehydrate.com/co-movement. I'm curious, like, did you run in high school? Like, what is the background leading up to this? I know I looked at the resume, on your website there, and you've completed many races, but like in high school or middle school, like when did you actually start running?
Yeah. I think it all started from playing soccer throughout my life, but I was midfield, so I was running forward and running back to defense and doing that all game. Nobody else really wanted to play midfield because there was a lot of running, and I just was naturally in that position. But I went into track in middle school and found that I was really good at the mile, and then went to cross country in high school and did pretty well in cross country. Took a break from running in college and just played rugby, and had goals of through hiking the Appalachian Trail, just doing it as a regular through hike, taking 5 to 7 months and just spending time on trail. And so it didn't quite work out when I initially set out to through hike. But in 2019, I did complete an entire through hike. And so combining like my love of running that I had from like high school and from, grade school with like this love for trails, I combined those and discovered FKTs, this whole like realm of FKTs, and discovered ultra marathons, and that kind of kickstarted a lot of it, just like this combination of two appreciations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a cool story. You mentioned the you attempted the Appalachian Trail, I think is 2017.
Yeah.
And I think you had mentioned this in either a talk you did or a podcast. It was mile 80 you had stopped. I'm curious because you and I am assuming, like, we're always looking to grow as athletes. Like, you're a totally different athlete now compared to then. How are you different from 2017?
Yeah, I would say like the biggest difference is probably mentality. I remember, the first couple days, the miles were so easy. Like I was able to, not to brag a little bit, but I remember thinking like, wow, like I just completed 17 miles on day 2 and I feel like fine. And it's still like 3 p.m. So like I naturally had like this endurance and this love for trails that kind of projected me down the trail easily. But I think mentality is what, caused me to stop, obviously. But these days, I just feel like, I've worked so hard on my anxiety and my mentality. It's just, I'm nowhere near that person that I was in 2017.
How, what steps have you taken to, you just mentioned anxiety, like, or staying calm in an adventure like that. What's, like a mental mindset for you or your go-tos with that?
Yeah. There's like so much I could talk about on this. But I think some things that help with, my mentality in races, it's like different mentality in races than it is in FKTs. Especially like one that's so long as the Appalachian Trail. But for races, I really just focus on doing my absolute best because I'm out there to win, but you don't know what kind of day somebody's going to have. So I'm going to do my best I'm going to be my best. I'm going to do what I can to get the most out of myself. And if I'm doing the absolute best that I can, I know that is, that's all I can ask for. So I kind of focus on that. I focus in FKTs, I focus on staying in the moment and not, thinking about the future. This like dread, this sense of dread, this like fear of like the future, essentially is like where I see my anxiety popping up. And if I just stay in the moment and I make the mile that I'm running the best mile that I can make it, I mean, it's only gonna follow as the future gets here. whatever fear there is, as long as I'm focusing on that mile and making it the best I can, I don't see, I don't see my anxiety spiraling as much when I think of that.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice there. 'Cause I sort of correlate that to like, everyday life, right? If we look at everything like a year down the road, 5 years down the road, 50 years down the road, you would drive yourself crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think all of us probably at some level, struggle with that, but especially on an adventure like that, you're always probably asking yourself, like, what ifs,
Mhm.
what if I sprain an ankle? Like, what if there's so many things, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, 1 mile at a time. I like that.
Yeah.
What, with the weather, you'd went essentially from south to north. How did you see things change weather-wise? Like, you started out probably in some pretty hot conditions, warm conditions at least, to pretty nasty, right?
Yeah. I actually started, going southbound, starting in Maine and going through New Hampshire. I had really bad weather. It was really rainy and the trail was really wet, which is not great when you're in the whites, which is just rocky. And as soon as these rocks get wet, they get slippery and it is not conducive to a quick pace. So the first 11 days was really, really difficult. I was cold and wet for like 6 days straight and just uncomfortable. And it was difficult. And it was nothing I wasn't expecting, but it was just like, it was constant. And there was like, I saw the sun for 4 minutes one day and that was it. And it was just hard. And as we continued, it did get really hot. There were some really, really hot days, especially in New York. There was a really hot day, and that affected the pace. But after Maine and New Hampshire, and excluding those 2 hot days, we had excellent weather, really beautiful days, just really sunny, not too hot for most of the days. But then, 6 days after I finished the Appalachian Trail, at Springer in Georgia, the southern Appalachians were hit by Hurricane Helene.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and it was, I mean, the amount of rain they got was insane. And I had a friend out there he wasn't going for a record, but he was running the trail, Mike Wardian, and he was just running it in like, I think he did in like 50 odd days. I forget how much it was. And he got caught in that storm and it was really difficult. There's a lot of blowdowns and the trail is just decimated. Those communities are just, decimated, which is so unfortunate. Lots of people died. And it was like kind of wild how we like, what was it saying? Like string the needle or whatever. Like we were able to get this perfect weather window, an exception of like the New Hampshire and Maine days.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Some of those areas that, I think they got up to like 14 inches or,
Yeah.
maybe more. I'm not sure. But I know that here in New York, where we are, we got 4 inches one day, like years ago, and it like flooded, different towns and canals and whatever.
Yeah.
So 14 plus inches, I can't even imagine,
Yeah. Yeah. It was wild.
Where in New York, I'm curious, where in New York does the Appalachian Trail, go through? Is it through like Albany area down through Poughkeepsie or no?
I don't know the exact towns, but it's near Harriman and Bear Mountain.
Huh. I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to
The
look that up.
Hudson River Bridge.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Makes sense. Yeah. Because I'm about 2 hours west of that in central New York out there near Syracuse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what was the lowest point you think over the 40 days? Did you hit a low where you were just like tapped out mentally?
Yeah, I don't think I was ever like tapped out mentally. I was pretty engaged and I had a pretty big focus on the like completing the FKT. I never knew if it was possible, but I definitely was like always like willing to give it my best effort. But definitely the first 10 days, 11 days, like I had mentioned, was really difficult, being cold and wet for 6 days straight. And just going over some of the most technical areas on the trail was pretty difficult, especially in the rain. Luckily, I had a lot of great pacers who are experienced in the whites, like Scott and Maya, and call them the White Mountain Boys. They work for a local gear company, and they come out and they help FKTers, which was great. A lot of experience, but it was exhausting, and the sections were so long in between that I'd be able to see my crew. So they're like long, like 20, 15-mile sections that I wouldn't be able to see my crew for. And also in those first 2 weeks of an FKT, such as this, like a multi-week FKT, your body is still adapting to the movements. And I like it's kind of weird. After those first 2 weeks, your body actually adapts to the miles, and it's not like you feel amazing. It's not like, oh, this is my new normal. It's just like it's easier than it was in the first 2 weeks. So it's this crazy phenomenon where you're kind of adapting to those miles and the movements. And so within the first 2 weeks, I had the hardest miles on the AT. So I would definitely say that was the lowest low.
Yeah, I do some hiking in the Adirondack Mountains.
Oh yeah, those are rough.
Yeah, well, but again, I can't imagine like running or even a fast, aggressive pace through that terrain. So I know what you're saying. It's a real tough terrain. You know, you had mentioned, I think it was in an article, hallucinations. Did you get into that realm at all? I know in the ultra marathon world, it's pretty common. I hear like Courtney DeWalter and different people talk about that. Did you experience that or no?
Yeah, I had quite a few hallucinations, especially in Maryland, where the compounding exhaustion was in full effect. I would have these little, like, I call them these mini hallucinations. During ultras, I have like full blown hallucinations because I usually haven't slept for, the entire night. Luckily on the AT, I was able to sleep for like 5 hours. So I wasn't like extremely, like, I was exhausted, but I was able to like sleep and like break up those moments. And they usually come at night too, or like in the end of the day. But yeah, I'd have these mini hallucinations where it was like a little devil sitting on a log, or I saw a person hanging from a tree. I saw a cat and a lion, and they're just split second. I look over and my brain would tell me it's this like object or a lion or a dog or whatever, and it wasn't there. I had a full-blown hallucination the last push, which was like 44 hours of pretty much no sleep. I think I had 23 minutes of sleep in the last 44 hours for the 129-mile push. And so I was really, really exhausted, and it was the last 30 miles, and I saw my friend Liz sitting on a log, and I like I convinced myself she was sitting there and she was waiting for me and she was gonna help pace me at the end, which she had come like maybe a couple of days before, and I knew she had gone back to Boston, so that was kind of wild that my brain just convinced me that she was there.
Yeah, it's like you're looking for some reinforcements, mentally, just placing these people there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. You just mentioned that last push. That was actually the last thing I want to ask you about. You had a last push of 129 miles, about 43 hours or so. You had a 23-minute nap during that time period. How hard was it to get up after that nap and keep moving?
It was really difficult, because, I mean, to give full context, I had 3 hours of sleep in between like the second to last day and the final push. So I only had 3 hours of sleep. And so I was getting to the end of like usually where I ended the night which was around like 8:30 to like 10.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting to that point in the day, so I think we were like 58 miles in for the day. I don't remember the exact number, it was somewhere around there. And so it was night. I knew I had this long push to the end. It was about the next section would be 16 overnight miles with no crew access. And then after that, it was going to be 14 miles with no crew access. And it was really rough to like wrap my head around that. Already so sleep deprived from just 3 hours the night before. So Rascal was like, you're going to get in the van, you're going to sleep for 20 minutes, and you're going to get up and you're going to complete this. And so I went to sleep for 20 minutes and woke up and asked her for 10 more. And she said, you can sleep for 3 more. So I got 3 more hours or 3 more minutes of sleep and woke up and just started crying again. Because I had been crying for like 5 miles. Like the previous like 5 miles, I cried pretty much the entire time. And so I just started crying again because it was just, I was so exhausted and I was not looking forward to the 16-mile lone section and just like so upset. And my mom gave me a pep talk. My mom, Rascal, and I were in the van. There's a bunch of like crew members outside the van. We locked ourselves in the van and she gave me a pep talk and we got out of the van and she was still like, I was still pretty upset, but you know, I was a little more encouraged to just get it done. I mean, there's nothing you can really do. Like, I didn't really want to sleep anymore, but I also really was not looking forward to this section. And the only thing that I had to do was just keep moving forward. There was no ifs, ands, or buts, but I was just really not looking forward to that section.
Yeah, that's so long by yourself and you're so tired. What did your mom say to you?
Yeah, I was with pacers. I did have Hunter, my pacer. So I was lucky to have somebody with me who was carrying a lot of my things. I don't really remember what my mom said, but I know it encouraged me. Whatever she said really inspired me because I got out there again. Everything's kind of a blur from that last section.
Yeah, I can imagine. What's the recovery process look like? You know, we're in the health space here, you know, with our facility. We do a lot of, you know, consulting and coaching with athletes and, you know, weekend warriors and stuff, you know. So I'm just curious, you know, after a 40-day beatdown, essentially, right? Like, how do you feel? Any side effects? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, the brain fog is definitely a factor. I'm pretty much okay right now. It's been how long has it been? It's been like 2+ months since I finished. So I feel okay. I'm actually running really strong. I'm training for Black Canyon again, and I feel really good. But when I finished, the recovery was a lot of brain fog, just eating a lot. Your body just craves calories for recovery. So I didn't really limit myself on like what I was allowed to eat. Like there's that doesn't compute for me. It's all in like food. You need food to recover. And I just allowed myself to eat whatever. My feet were really messed up throughout the FKT. And that was actually they were messed up, but they weren't as messed up as they have been in previous records. I took better care of them, but they still were like pretty wrecked. And so the recovery with the feet just alone was rough. Like I feel like they shed like 6 different skins in the recovery process. There's a lot of like excess skin that I lost. It was kind of gross. I had these holes and sores in my feet and blisters. I just had to let those recover. And I didn't really run at all. I had like a slight glute injury in the last 30 miles. And it was really hard to like run. I remember trying to like run uphill on this mountain in Boulder, try to run up this mountain and just was like struggling to like run for more than like 10 seconds up this mountain. And that was like, I think that was about 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks removed from the FKT. I remember it was about maybe a month, a full month and a half in between there that I like did this run, and it like clicked and was like, oh, like I still feel it a little bit, but I feel like I'm getting there. I'm recovering pretty well.
Yeah. Did you how many weeks did you take off after finishing from running, or like activity in general? Like a few days, weeks?
I don't remember the exact amount of time. I think it was maybe like three weeks.
Yeah.
And I slowly got back into it. It wasn't like I went right back into running. I did a lot of cycling.
Sure.
And that's a great activity to do for recovery. If
Yes.
you want to get like a little more fit, and all that impact is on your body when you're running. So I did a lot of cycling in Boulder.
Yep. Wow. Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of cycling. I cycled yesterday. It's really good recovery for sure.
Yeah.
How is if at all, like how has your life changed? I know you've been on a series of podcasts like this.
Sure.
Is how, obviously you accomplished something huge. You inspired a lot of people. I think that's amazing. How has your life changed at all, if anything?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that my a lot of people have reached out, and I don't know how to word this. I with running, with ultra marathons, it's not a sport that pays a lot of money. And when I was just starting out, I really had to, like, if I won a race, that money was being invested back into racing. So with paying for race entries, or I got a treadmill that helped with like uphill running. I was living in a very flat area at the time. And so I had to use the money I was making at work to live. I couldn't really spend a lot of money on racing. So I invested a lot of money back in when I like won races. So it took a while, but I think the biggest thing that has changed is that I'm actually making like, I just signed a contract to make like a livable wage where I can do this stuff more often. And that's really exciting. It's in conjunction with Ultra and Ultra Spire and the feed all together. Like that whole like contract, all three of those contracts, it's allowed me to, live, actually live and race. So I think that's the biggest difference. I don't really feel like different. I don't feel like I do know I've accomplished something alongside my crew. We've accomplished something great. And I know I've inspired a lot of women and girls, which was like the main goal. But I don't really feel at all different. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I just kind of just have bigger goals now. I know that like things are possible. More things are possible, especially for my personal. I know women can do these overall records. I knew that, but I didn't know if I could do it. Now that I've proved it to myself, I think I've just allowed myself to make bigger goals.
Yeah. Well, you've inspired obviously a tremendous amount of people, and you have is it a foundation or maybe a nonprofit, Girls on the Run? Tell me about that. You wanted to raise some money through this FKT event. I know that I think it was $20,000 you were trying to raise. But you've blasted past that.
Yeah.
Which, congratulations, that's amazing. And I know Ultra, your sponsor, has thrown in a chunk too. So how much have you raised total for Girls on the Run?
Yeah, it was $100,000, just over 100,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm about to today. I need to post about that and then actually close the donation page down, because I think we've done really great work, and it was just so inspiring that everyone got on board with Girls on the Run and donated.
Yeah. was great. The fact that you even set that initial goal, right? You aimed at 20,000, and then more and more people jumped on board. And I give Ultra a lot of credit with what they put in, 40, 45. Did I read that right?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's amazing. How has it been working with Ultra? I know it's a popular shoe. We have clients that wear it and think highly of the company. How's that been being sponsored and working with them?
Yeah, they're very supportive. I've gone to their main office in Denver, and they're all just like really stoked. Like, I talked to the people who like designed the shoes, and obviously my athlete manager and I like are texting every other day, just talking about different opportunities. And I'm in with the marketing team. Like, it's very it doesn't feel like, they are like corporate and they are like professional, but I feel like I have access to like talk to these people who are, making differences like in ultras. They're making the shoes, they're marketing the shoes, they're, the president of the company. I've talked with her several times.
Yeah, that's amazing. What are you looking forward to here in the future, whether it's in the athletic side of things or just life in general? Like, where's your vision at right now?
Yeah. I when I was on the Appalachian Trail, I was like, I really want to go fast. I want to run faster, because I was running a steady pace all day. A lot of people think like, oh, you're probably running like 10 miles an hour. That's further from the truth. I'm doing like 3 miles an hour, but all day and for many days. And I was really missing going fast. So I've been doing a lot of speed work, and I'm looking forward to like going really fast and doing some quicker races for 2025. And then obviously would love to, a goal of mine every year is to hike or do an FKT or like through hike a long distance trail. And for me, that means like anything over like 100, 200 miles, anything over that. And so this year for 2025, I'm thinking doing the long trail as an FKT.
Wow. What's the days and time for that you'd be chasing?
Yeah, I'd go for Will Peterson's record that he just set this year. So I think that's just under 4 days.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
When would you attempt that? 2025, you said?
Yeah,
year?
August.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. How about short course? Like you mentioned, what's short to you? I'm assuming it's not a 1 mile attempt. Like, is that a 50K or what?
Oh, well, it's going fast, but like still pretty long, just going faster. The shortest distance I'm looking at like doing it competitively is 100K.
100K.
Black Canyon and canyons.
Yep. You already did the Black Canyon, right? Once, so you'd be chasing a time on that?
Yeah, I did it. I've done it twice. And the first year I did it was a shit stew, if you will. But the second year I did it, I feel like I nailed the course. And this year I want to be competitive because I know it a lot better. So I'm going after the golden ticket, the elusive golden ticket.
Yeah, nice. Do you strength train at all, Tara? I'm curious. Like, we do a lot of strength training, with our clients here. We have some ultra marathon, novice, runners. Do you strength train at all? Like, I'm just curious, like weekly in a 7-day block, like you're running, obviously. What other training do you do?
Yeah, I've been doing this since I finished the Appalachian Trail, but I've been doing a lot more strength training. So I get really bored after an hour of working out. So like just standing in one place and working out. So I have like 4 workouts I do, and I do about 3 reps, and I just do like one area. So glutes or, back or arms. And it's nothing like, I don't do a lot of research. I know just anything is better than nothing. So I've been just, getting out there, and I have a little home gym here, like the smallest little gym with like 1 bar and like a couple plates. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, the strength training piece, while you can't focus on it, super in depth for longevity and just, preserving your body, I think it plays a huge role.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure. Especially for like downhill running. Like
yeah,
it's so important to get uphill, downhill, just any kind of running. It is really important strength training. And that's
yeah.
something I've added into my regimen here. This is new.
Where are you located? Did you say Boulder? Are you in Colorado or no?
Yeah, I'm all over the place, honestly.
Okay.
Right now I'm in Virginia Beach, but I'm moving to Durango at the end of the month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't been to Durango. I've spent some time in Crested Butte, Colorado.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll wrap this up. So last question here. Why the nickname Candy Mama?
Yeah. Yeah. So, on trails, when you're through hiking, you get these nicknames. So when I was through hiking in 2019, I was with a bunch of people that had their own trail names, and I happened to eat a lot of candy, and I mommed everyone constantly, and they just combined them, and I'm Candy Mama.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully this conversation inspired a lot of people. You're doing awesome things, Tara, especially, that Girls on the Run, the foundation, all of that. It's so great. How can people learn more about your adventures and following you?
Yeah. I have a YouTube channel where I just finished posting like daily vlogs that I did while I was doing the FKT. Excuse me. But I have been posting those. So that YouTube channel is Tara Treks. And then, like you mentioned in the podcast, I'm also posting these reels on Instagram where I do like mini, like minute-long daily updates about the Appalachian Trail, and those are taking forever to upload. And I feel like I'm still on like day 26.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, this is taking longer than the actual FKT to post these, but they are fun to look back and like post them. So yeah, my Instagram handle is Tara, Tara Dower, Dower.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll put those links in the show description. Thank you, Tara.
Yeah, thank you so much.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting our sponsors, Native Path Supplements and Lombardi Chiropractic. Your support helps us to bring you 2 new episodes each month. See the show notes for more details and a nice discount from our sponsors. Thank you, and see you next time on the Co-Movement Gym Podcast.